Hey guys, this is Tom Hanks, and today's the big day, and that we've all been waiting for. I'm gonna mute my own stream because I'm a very professional streamer, and I had it running. Yeah, today's the big day we've all been waiting for. Today's the day that gave us the update in which you can actually drive your automation car in BeamNG.Drive. So exciting news, and that is exactly what I'm gonna be doing today. So let me just launch BeamNG.Drive real quick. I already just now exported a couple of cars from automation to BeamNG.Drive, and let's see how it goes. So there is BeamNG.Drive. You should be seeing it in just a second, hopefully. Yeah, okay. Right. See if that worked. I'm gonna grab my controller. Actually, I don't want to do it this way. How do I exit this screen? What have I done? Tell you what. I'll close and reopen the game. Yeah, as I said earlier, I'm a professional streamer. Yeah. I'll be back in just a second. Okay. Why does it never save that I actually put it in full screen? That's also pretty annoying. But in any case, free roam. We want to go, I guess I want to go to the track. Yeah. Default track. Sure. Spawn. And let me move my mic a little bit closer. Sorry for that. Okay, but now we will be able to hopefully see the cars we just exported. Yeah. Let's use the default color, yeah. So this is the car that I showed you in the video that I posted 2 days ago. What is going on? Why can't I move? And also, especially, why can't I steer? What is going on? Anyone know what this is? Let's just spawn new, I guess. I still can't steer. Oh man, yeah, The settings are, for whatever reason, different from what I set them before. So let's go to... Like, I had it all set up. Here it is. And then gameplay. No, controls. And vehicle. So where are you? Steer left button. Wait, what is... Steers the vehicle with an axis. Yeah, it's the... No. Cancel. I don't wanna, like... What the hell? Steer left button. Apply? Wait, it's taking the... It's taking the wrong input here. Like, I'm not pressing left or now right on the cross above the analog stick on my controller. Instead, I'm using the analog stick. Let's see if it works now. Rotate the camera a little bit. Please stop responding me every fraction of a second. I wanna like actually drive. Options, controls, vehicle. Yeah, throttle is this, and then where is reset the vehicle? I don't see that anywhere. General, no. Gameplay. Reset the physics. Oh, okay. Cancel. Oh. Revert this one. Okay. Are we good now? Yes. Okay, finally. Welcome everyone to BeamNG.Drive, and we can finally drive. Man, this thing does like to drift, doesn't it? And it's fast. That's with ESC on. I don't want to turn it off now. Man, like... If that is what it does with the ESC on, then what does it do without, man? You're just spinning all the way. But it does corner at a reasonably good speed, unlike like anything else that I drove in BeamNG so far. Hi, ZKI, Skyrook? Is that how you say your name? Yeah, it does like to just dance around even with the ESC turned on. So imagine, remember that we do have a 4-liter V8 in here with 450 horsepower and only rear-wheel drive, but this does also have 275s front and rear, like tires, 275mm tires on both ends. It does sort of like to slide about even without me doing very much. Like, I don't have a sort of... I don't have... Kairook? Okay. I don't have a sort of graphic that would display how much throttle is being used at any time, but there you would be able to see that I'm not actually using that much throttle during these corners. And it's still, even if the ESC is trying to oversteer. Okay, now I was completely off the throttle and going into that corner probably a little bit too fast. See, this is all with ESC on. Okay, yeah, that was my mistake. But we did damage something here, I think. But it's awesome that we can actually drive these cars in BeamNG.Drive now, even though I'm not entirely convinced by the vehicle dynamics in this game. But let's try something else here. Yeah. Thanks for that, Spawn. Oh yeah, now I have to select the vehicle again. Default color. This isn't quite as fast as the car we were driving before, but also it doesn't have a big wing on the back. And it has narrower tires. It has a 275 horsepower, 285 horsepower, I think, turbocharged V6. Man, the brakes in this game are so bad. You would be able to brake so much later in most other like racing games or even in real life. I'm gonna replace my current car with a new one though, because I did damage something on that impact. Replace current. When it spawns your car into something, press Shift plus C, move your camera, and then press F. Okay. I wasn't aware of that function. Like, I'm still fairly new to BeamNG. I did only play like an hour and a half to 2 hours of this game before this feature came out, and I gotta say I wasn't entirely convinced by the game before. Like, I still think that the physics are a little bit suboptimal and can certainly be improved. Like, that just doesn't seem to be any grip at any speed. Actually, let's change something real quick. Vehicle. No, that's not what I want. Options. Where are the vehicle settings? Like, I want to change tire pressure and whatnot. Other controls. Hi, Mr. Rondini, how are you doing? Vehicle? Oh, that's not it. Man, why isn't this under vehicle? Oh, vehicle config. Okay, there we go. Oh, you can't tune automation vehicles. Fair enough. Yeah, you can actually change the tire pressure apparently. Let's go down from 30 to 22 psi, shall we? Maybe that gives us just a little bit more grip. Apply. Now 22 psi is not what you would use in real life. That's way too low. But maybe it'll help with the grip here. Man, this thing has such, like, it has, I think, 245mm rear tires, which in most cases is probably about adequate for 285 horsepower. Maybe a little bit narrow, but not too bad, I would say. And the ESC is on and it does these things. Yeah, look at that. This game just does not like grip. That is a word that it has still to learn. Let's see. It brakes well, it brakes really well, this car. Damn, like I'm exiting a corner, all I'm trying to do is just get this thing straight. This corner is pretty weird too. Stock cars are better? I don't believe so. Like, I've found that stock cars have like no grip at all, even like except for the one. Let me show you because I can't remember its actual name. Which one was that? This one in its racing trim. That one does actually have some grip because it does have white tires and a big spoiler. But everything else is like driving on ice. And the all-wheel drive cars, you might argue, are gonna be better, but I've tried them and they understeer a lot. Just the way that this car oversteers with the ESC on, those understeer with the ESC on. So that's just something that I found in BeamNG.Drive in general, is that cars don't like to just grip up. Oh man, yeah, that corner tightens, I forgot. I like the way they implemented the sounds though, the engine sounds. Yeah, you could have taken that corner easy at that sort of speed, but yeah. You can't in this. Let's try this one, shall we? This is a sort of a Japanese sports car. I think I made it in the year 1992 in automation. Well, what is that rear window? Why are the windows white on this one? This doesn't make sense. Now, of course, do remember that on this car, we're not working with ESC. So we gotta do all the dirty work ourselves, and that's gonna be quite scary, to be honest. But it does seem to have a reasonable amount, or at least a semi-decent amount of grip. I was kind of playing a little bit more with the throttle there at the end of that corner. And it only has 170 horsepower, so it's not super scary. Of the system, they're still working on it. Yeah, they're improving it every update, but it's still far from perfect. Yeah, I mean, I realized that BeamNG is also made by a small developer team like Automation. I'm not familiar with the devs of BeamNG, and I don't know how. Oh shit. and I don't know how many they are. But it's safe to say that for a small developer studio, it's hard to really nail things down and get it to work right. Like I've seen that in automation, because I have actually bought automation back in like October 2012. So I've been through a lot of the development process, and yeah, there have been a lot of issues, a lot of troubles, a lot of things that weren't working right at some point. And I mean, automation is not perfect now, let's face it, but like compared to what it was, you know, a few years ago, it's just an incredibly like it's a massive improvement. For a second I thought I may actually get this thing to drift properly if I'm careful, but nope. Did we not damage anything here? I think we didn't. It seems like this behaves normally still. Yeah, this car actually, for the most part, I mean, I did that right there was my mistake. But this car, for the most part, feels pretty safe to drive. I am using quite a bit of throttle here now. Yeah. I did ask for it on that one. You bought BeamNG in 2014? And the car slid a lot more. They were undrivable even with the controller. Okay. I mean, I have to admit, I did have to change quite a few things in the vehicle config settings. If I could take anything from this right now and just show you what I mean. No, where is it? The steering linearity and that sort of thing, I had to change a lot. Where is that? Gameplay. That is driving aids. And then other, maybe? No? Controls. Yeah, oh, here it is. That sort of thing. Free devices that... Oh, a mouse as well. Yeah, but this sort of thing I had to change quite a lot. And the steering, yeah, also the steering linearity and stuff like that I had to change quite a lot because the default one was just completely undrivable. Let's actually have some fun and load this thing in. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that. It's a car that I made quite a while ago, and I don't believe I made a video of it. But yeah, the name had V16 in it, and so does this car. That was maybe like 1/8 of the throttle, and ESC is on. It has 800 horsepower, by the way. I exported this car just for fun, just to see what happens. And as you can see, once you do put the hammer down, it's quite fast. As you would expect a car with 800 horsepower to be. Man, I was just gonna say, I'm surprised it hasn't spun yet. Man, yeah. Yeah, let's respawn. And this is actually, let's go free roam. What is this? This is one of the... Is there a place where there's a lot of like straights? I mean, isn't there a highway or something like that? There is an automation test track. We gotta go there. Starting line. Spawn. We gotta go here. But man, 800 horsepower in this thing. Yeah, not gonna be easy to control this thing. Like, we've seen how much I struggled with the 275 horsepower car, which slithered about quite a bit. Now let's try basically triple that. The game was lagging there for a second as well. Man, yeah, this car does not grip up. Like ever, even with the ESC turned on. Like, I've driven a racing game or two in my day, and I'm trying to keep this thing as stable and as tidy as possible, but yeah. The brakes are fading now. Yeah. Let's get another car for this track. Let's actually get the one we drove at the start. This one. What tire size you have in this thing? I think the rears are like 325s on the V16 one. On this one, we have 275s all around. It has 450 horsepower from a screaming 4-liter naturally aspirated V8. I think this is fast enough for me, this car. Why could you not go through that chicane at 45 miles an hour? And also, why don't you stop faster? Like, why don't you brake faster? This feels a lot more stable than the previous one. Here the spoiler really pays off. We do also have a lip on the rear, as you can see, and we do have actually two lips on the front. Like, it's basically split. There's a central one, and then there's, well, basically one in two pieces on the side. Like there is. I wanted to follow the angle of the car, so you can see that there's an extra piece here under the fog lights and under that vent. That is and it's mirrored on the other side. So this front lip does have two parts to it, or three, depending on how you want to see it. Man, yeah, in the low speeds, hitting even just a little bit of throttle on this car, the tail kicks out, which does make sense. Oh, okay, let's keep it together here. Man, with how much of a fight this is, even with the ESC turned on, I don't want to imagine what it would be like with the ESC turned off. Unless the ESC doesn't actually work properly for automation cars, which I could understand if that's the case. But if it does work, and that's how this car behaves with ESC turned on, then man. Same corner, about the same speed as last lap. This time made it through just fine. By the way, I'm driving with automatic gearbox here. The reason you see the speed, the gears in the tag is because this car is actually a manual, but I am using the automatic gearbox mode of BeamNG.Drive. That's what I meant. Can we go through this flat out? No, we can't. Yeah, I thought we only damaged the door at first, because that's what the graphics showed. No, we just lost our spoiler. Yeah. Why did I try going through that flat out? Can anyone explain that to me? Come on, we lost our spoiler again. But in any case, let's actually try the turbocharged version of this car, which has the same 2.5 liter straight six, but with, or 2.8 liter straight six, but with a turbocharger strapped on, and it makes 220 horsepower. Again, this car does not have ESC, just like the naturally aspirated one we drove earlier. Man. At least we didn't hit the wall there. But, like, in racing games, I really like to drift, and in this it seems like if you ever get the car sliding and you counter steer, there's no point where the car like actually stabilizes and then starts to straighten out as you well, as you leave the corner. Instead, when you counter steer, even when you're extremely careful with the throttle and everything, at some point it's just gonna snap and kind of like snap into the other side like a pendulum, like that. I was off the throttle there when that happened. There it worked for some reason. And this car is actually not too slow either, like... With the extra amount of control that this car has over the 800 horsepower one, I actually think that this would complete that I would be able to complete a lap faster here with this than with the 800 horsepower one, simply because this is a lot more manageable for me. And I'm not going off the track all the time or spinning out. It did that corner beautifully. That was actually braking oversteer. That was like no throttle used throughout that at all. So that works apparently. Brake way too early there. But yeah, this does seem... Oh, almost jinxed it. Well, this does seem like, all in all, a fairly drivable car. Except when it does that. Engine is off, restarting. Okay, let's actually see. Drive this, for example. This was extremely twitchy before. So so far it's going alright on this one as well. Keep in mind that while this is more powerful than the car we were just driving, it is also heavier, of course. So the straight line performance is actually not too much better. Except in a situation like that where we just exited a corner, and of course this with the torque from the 3-liter V6 accelerates out of that harder. Then again, the other engine was a 2.8-liter turbocharged inline-6, so that's not necessarily a slouch in torque either. Understeering wide. Let's actually see what happens. Doesn't feel too different just yet. Hooks up nicely off the start, actually. Yeah, ESC is working though. Like, I do feel a difference here compared to with ESC. That was maybe like 1/8 of the throttle, so if that causes this sort of oversteer, then you know, how much less throttle do you want me to use? None, I guess, but also I wanna like accelerate out of a corner. I don't wanna like stay off the throttle and, you know, slowly due to roll resistance come to a stop. It's no fun, you know. Well, yeah, that wasn't ideal. Yeah, neither was this. So ESC does make a difference. Actually, I want to make a donut with the V16 one right now, just to hear the engine. That was half throttle accelerating, by the way, and we were spinning in 4th gear. Let's actually go back to automation for a second. And build/review/fine-tune and then export some cars, shall we? Yeah, let's do that. Starting up automation. I wanna just check what size rear tires that V16 actually has, because well, I made it so long ago that I don't remember, and I may have been stupid at the time and not given it wide enough tires. By the way, here's automation. It does have a drivability of 63 in automation. It didn't feel like that, to be honest with you. Yeah. Yeah. And this engine makes how much torque? Okay, yeah. 1162 Newton meters. Rear-wheel drive 275. Yeah, Tom, that seems like a really good idea. I don't want to toggle graphics. Well, yeah. Make that a lot wider. Yeah, that, let's put it back where it was. And also let's, make sure to angle that. Hi, can someone sub my YouTube channel? I don't know, I'll check it out later after the stream, and, if I like it, maybe I'll sub. Please, automation, please don't be so clunky. You almost had it there. Almost had it. Like, what the fuck? Does not like me doing that, apparently. You see what I'm trying to do, right? Let's just do it like this then. And move this. Oh, okay. Ah, yeah. Right. That's how that works now, apparently. What is up with these lips? Dude, I don't want you to be like that. Let's just place a new one, shall we? Lips. This one. See, here it hooks just fine. Make that carbon fiber. And we clone this. Follow the... no. Follow the curve of the car a little bit here. Then we mirror this. Bam, okay. Right. Three 25s we got now. 2 75s on the front. Yeah, okay, good. Try locking on cardinal lock so it doesn't change with the surface. Ah, I didn't actually know that was a thing. Thanks for telling me. But yeah, now we have this this thing set up. We can now go ahead and export it again. Hopefully that'll override it. Export. It should overwrite it. And with that we should have wider tires now. Because 275s 275 millimeter rear tires with 800 horsepower and nearly 1200 newton meters, that's not a good idea. But then it's me, so you know what that means. Basically I'm an idiot. But yeah, let's try and see what else we could do. Actually, you know what I wanna export? I wanna export the this thing, the demo car for the supercar challenge that I did a while ago. And the reason I wanna export this one is not only because it's crazy fast, like 800 horsepower from the 7.5 liter V12, but also because these numbers, like the cornering G is 1.22 G, and then that's because we have two 85s on the front and three 85s on the rear. That's completely nuts, and I love it, and I'm gonna export that. See if that thing has any grip. Which it should. Export finished, thank you. But yeah, this thing, whoa, nice new graphic for the automation track. I didn't even notice that yet. End game. 3.2 seconds 0 to 100, 365 kilometers an hour top speed. This thing's gonna be quick, extremely quick. Oh, sorry, the stream was a bit late. No problem, no problem. What else do we have? Wait, let me see. There was something else that one. Yeah, this one. That is a car that I originally made a long time ago, and then decided, hey, I wanna just change a tiny little bit about the aesthetics and enter it in the competition R of the Automation Design Challenge. This is the Zippy V8. And think of it in 1961. Think of it this way. The Austin Mini is out, right? But in America, people don't accept cars with, you know, less than 6 or 8 cylinders. You know, I mean, technically they accept it, but you know, they're gonna look at you funny. So what you want is a car that's as light and nimble and practical as the Mini, but also has a V8 under the bonnet, and that's exactly what this is. So this is actually a 2.6 liter V8, 105 horsepower, which is a lot for a car like this. It only weighs like under 800 kilograms, and especially for 1961, it's fast. 9 seconds 0 to 100. You know, the Volkswagen Beetle at the time had a 0 to 100 time of like 33 seconds. This does it in 9. So, yeah. Your car is the car of Mr. Bean? Not quite. He'll probably crap himself if he heard the V8 in his car. Export finished. Okay, nice. Also, Koro, how's it going? What is this? That's a pony car. That, I believe, is a V12 80s GT car. Could be interesting. Then again, we have something similar here, which I believe I preferred when I built it. Oh yeah, it's also extremely economical. What are you? Oh, that's that thing. Yeah, let's try the cars that we just exported in Beam, shall we? So I'm gonna put this screen on for just a second while I exit automation and start Beam. And give it a second. Right, it should be there in just a second. And we go to the automation track naturally, to the starting line. I wanna try the Zippy V8. Okay, vehicles should be right in here. There we go. That's quite a muffled V8 noise. This, I believe, only has 165mm tires all around, because it is from 1961, and 61 for a car like this, tires of 165mm width were massive. Oh man, yeah, short wheelbase likes to rotate a lot, so you gotta be extremely careful when braking. You really can't brake into a corner with this car. You gotta brake while you're still going straight and then turn. Which is how ideally you should be driving around the track anyway, but it's usually not as fun. Yeah. We're up to 90 miles an hour here. Can we get 100 before we have to brake for this corner? No, we can't. But we also don't have to brake here, apparently. We're actually decelerating in 4th gear. I'm flat out. Now it's downshifting. And yeah, it was downshifting, not me. I have the gearbox in-game set to automatic. Man, this engine is really quiet. I can basically almost not hear it at all. But yeah, for a 1961 small family hatchback, this is a wild ride. Like, again, compare this to a Volkswagen Beetle which had like 13 horsepower, or a Fiat 500 which had what, 14. This has 105 and it weighs just as little, so yeah, it is the family express, if you will, of the time. Nice drift. Let's switch car, because I want to see what this does. Give it a second. There we go. It accelerates extremely fast, is the first thing it does. It doesn't brake as hard as some other cars we've seen. But man, when you open the tabs on this one, this is so freaking fast. Oh man, no. No, it pulls to one side by default. Main engine broken. Yeah, because yeah, as you can see in the bottom left corner in the graphic, our engine is of course in the front on this car. Where else could it be? Also, why does this car not have grip? It's got a massive spoiler, and as I said, 385s on the rear. Yeah, okay. Well, that was not as I expected. I mean, it's as fast as I had expected, but let's try if this changed at all. With the wider tires now. please brake when I'm on the pedal? Or are the brakes locking up like extremely fast on this one? It's still really hard to keep straight. It does feel just a tiny little bit less out of control compared to before. Yeah, like, this is completely bonkers. It just wiggles around. Even though, as you saw, we do have aerodynamic fixtures on this thing, this is probably still the one that I prefer driving at the moment. It does handle quite well. And it does feel a lot more stable than the other one that we just drove. Yeah, and I like the engine note on this one as well. Then again, didn't they also add inline fives and boxers to automation in today's update? We should make a car with one of those engines, shouldn't we? Opening the tabs on a long straight, and the car is actually dead straight here. We reached like 140 miles an hour here. I don't think we've actually reached that with the previous car, even though it's almost twice as powerful as this one. Simply because this has some stability and the other one, well, doesn't. Let's make it not 911. I mean, yeah, we can. There's actually a there's actually two Porsche-esque bodies that are mods for automation, and they are for like 2010 or 2012 or whatever, or at least available from that year in automation, so we can make a modern Porsche-esque car, sure. And what else I want to make after I complete this lap would be a small front-engined car, sort of Miata-sized, and with a flat 4 or flat 6 engine. The reason for that is because, of course, the flat engine can be, or boxer engine, can be mounted really low down in the car, thereby giving it a low center of gravity for really good handling. And if you have a car that's small and light to begin with, handling is always going to be good. And if you also add a light engine and mount it low down in the car, that's gonna make elevate the handling from being good to being excellent. So hopefully, at least. I mean, we'll see the result in BeamNG, but let's fire up automation. Now, should we make a modern 911, modern sort of 911s car with, I guess, this body, or should we make an older one with this body? What do you think? I'm gonna take a drink in the meantime. Okay, so this one then, and the year would be, I guess, 78, which would be, I think, when the, or at least roughly the same sort of time where the first 911 Turbo came out. I think it was 73 that the first Porsche 911 Turbo came out, right? Or 76? Anyway. Let's make it steel. And then a space frame, because that was actually kind of common back in the day. We can't actually make... Yeah, let's go for monocoque then, so we can actually make it rear-engined. Man, this thing is gonna probably be quite problematic in the corners. Just like old Porsches were. Yeah, there we go. 6. And we go for an aluminium engine. We're gonna go for dual overhead cam 2-valve per cylinder setup, I think. This does fit comfortably. Let's go up to... Oh no, it does not fit. Does not fit at all. Not even a flat 4 fits. Not even the smallest possible boxer 4 fits. Man, that's a bummer. Well, I guess there goes that idea. Wait, it's a bug? Okay, let's go back then. flat 6 we want, and we want it to be like, let's make it about 3.2 liters, shall we? Like that. Yeah, it doesn't fit. Naturally aspirated. 78, we probably still want carbs. Make it smaller and select the drive type, then it will fit, okay? 78, we need that. Exhaust, long tubular, dual. That's enough. Actually, no catalytic converter. 2 straight through mufflers. Give me the graphs. We can go higher in the compression. 9.0, sure. 216 horsepower. Seems fair. Let's choose a color first. Whatever. Manual 5-speed river drive. It does fit, doesn't it? Now it does fit all of a sudden. Okay. Alright. Nice. So a 3.2 liter, 216 horsepower, flat 6. That is certainly enough for 1978. Let me move my microphone back a little bit so I can access my keyboard and type. P6, I guess, Porsche 6-cylinder. P632, I guess, for 3.2 liter. BeamNG.Drive flat B6. Whatever. Okay. Top speed is gonna be higher than this. We're gonna go like that. Open diff. Also, we wanna design this thing a little bit differently. 78. I think we want pop-up headlights, don't we? Sure. And then I think what did I have? I had which icon did I have? I had the stag, I think. Where is that? Ah, whatever. Let's just put anyone on there. Let's just put this one on here. So let's put this indicator on here. And let's actually make this like black on the surroundings. like that, and give it some vents. Here, like so. It needs a number plate, of course. And I want to give it some fog lights down here as well. It comes with fixed door mirrors already, which is nice. Door handles. Nice little antenna on the back. Fuel cap like that. No, actually, let's go with this one. That's where the engine is, so put it like here. And then exhausts. That game didn't like that. Tail lights, I guess we need. Wouldn't be the worst thing. And then clone these so we get the same height, and make these ones the indicators by changing that. Now I think we can add some of these. And a number plate right there. I think this, as far as a sort of simple 70s design goes, this is all right. This is good enough for exporting this into Beam. Yeah, hey James, how are you doing? Thought I wasn't gonna see you here on the stream, but here you are. Let's give this sports stars, because it is a sports car after all, even if it is only a 1978 one. 185s. 15-inch rims seem fine. I do think we want to give this solid discs front and rear. We're gonna play with the brake plies a little bit. Interior, this is not gonna have back seats. Gonna give this a sport interior and standard entertainment. Sure, power steering, standard 70s, progressive springs. Oh, look at that! It's actually decent already. But the drivability could be better. Doing alright. Looking forward to driving my atrocities. Of course, in my infinite wisdom, I made sure automation would auto-update while I was busy. Now I just have to wait for Beam. Yeah. Yeah. Beam doesn't automatically update for you? Is how I take that. This does have too much roll angle for my liking. .8, much better. Tell you what, let's soften the front springs and the rear ones, and let's soften the dampers as well on both ends, so that we can You know, softer suspension is generally more forgiving. And that is what I want to have in BeamNG. Let's see, where is the engine making its power? 6100. Okay, that's actually really good in this case. How are we doing in here? Track is really good. Track premium, decent. Light sport premium, decent. Light sport, very good. Sport budget, extremely good. 5.8 seconds acceleration time. That's pretty damn quick, isn't it? 990 kilograms. And actually, the weight distribution isn't horrible. Fix the suspension frequency. Have you driven anything in Beam yet? Yeah, I have. We're just I just remembered that the what's it called? That the update brought boxer engines to the game, and I wanted to make a car with a boxer engine and drive that in Beam as well. Do 1.6 front and 1.76 for the rear. There is no... I can't manually enter these numbers here, so... (1.6), 1.8 I guess for the rear. Is that more like? And dampers to 0.45. But I can do you have different measurements maybe? Oh, oh, I see now. You mean the front? Yeah, the numbers that it says on top there above suspension tuning. I see. 1 point. Yeah, that's close enough to 1.6. Rear right frequency. What did you say? 1.76 for the rear. 1.75, close enough. Now that is really harsh rear suspension. I think this will make it more likely that the rear end will lose traction. I think that the setup would work better on a front engine car. But on a rear engine, like, look at this. Yeah, I want to soften the rear springs a little bit. Let's see. The weight distribution is actually not horrible, considering this is rear-engined. Like nearly 40 to 60. That's not awful. Let's export this and test it out. But you have a lot of weight in the back. Oh shit! Automations just crashed. We'll bring it back. Yeah, 10 out of 10 death trap, stiff rear on a rear engine rear-wheel drive car. Yeah. The reason you don't want stiff suspension on the rear when you have a rear-engined car is because, yeah, you do need some stiffness, because otherwise the engine would just the weight of the engine will just make the rear end kind of bounce around. But if it's too stiff and it doesn't move at all, you know, the engine just basically becomes a pendulum because it is the heaviest thing in the car, and it'll just make the car oversteer like crazy. So you gotta find a balance to it there. I think I like this. Let's export it as it is. Okay, not from there though. Oh man, yeah, I forgot to switch back to animation, but it crashed again anyway. So let's bring it back. And let us export it from here. When you put the mouse on the settings, the damping should be about 0.45. I've got 0.55 at the moment, which I think is fair for a sports car. And now let's build another thing that I had in mind, which is a small front-engine rear-wheel drive sports car with a flat 4 engine in the front. I was thinking not... so basically you can think of it as a BRZ, but in a Miata format. That's what I had in mind anyway. This is quite small. We don't have the actual Miata body in the game here, I see. I don't want to use this body. 2012, yeah, seems good. Let's use fiberglass panels. I got 79 cars to import. I have a feeling I'm going to be crashing even harder than a Mustang, leaving a car show. Potentially, yeah. Then again, it's pretty hard to beat a Mustang leaving a car show. You gotta keep that in mind. And AHS steel chassis. Double wishbone. Engine. Boxer 4. Make it aluminium, just gonna standard aluminium. We're gonna go with VVL, yeah? Sure, why not? Gotta get that VTEC on that Boxer engine. I do wanna make it like, I do wanna stroke it up to 2.2 though. Like that. Forged steel, lightweight forged. Don't want to go crazy aggressive on the VVL profile. I want to keep this naturally aspirated. Injection, direct injection. Standard. Performance intake, I guess. Premium gas. Revving to, let's say, like 7.2. A little bit of noise. We can rev this higher. not really. So how much power do we want? I don't think we actually need that much, because this thing is supposed to be light. We do want more compression. 192 horsepower seems fairly reasonable. Your stream is very delayed. Try to refresh. What is the thing that's keeping the forged pistons are the ones that are keeping us from revving higher. Let's see. Can we do anything to make that power earlier? I mean, yeah, reduce the VVL profile, but it still makes peak power at 7400 RPM. And it still does. And it still does. What if we change this and that doesn't help at all in the high end? .180 horsepower should be fine. Mostly, I think. What about yeah, the exhaust can be a little bit smaller. .175 horsepower seems fine for the most part as well. Yeah, with 12.0 compression. Sure, let's keep it like this. Coupe. Bring this back so we have a little bit less weight over the front end. You're basically sitting almost on the rear axle on this one, which is good for weight distribution. I don't like this paint on this one. I like this. Or let's make it orange. Sure. Okay. Now let's what kind of headlights? Let's use these. I don't want to spend too much time in automation doing these designs now, because I do want to drive these things in Beam, of course. Oh, this does both at the same time, man. What is this? Oh yeah, well, we want this to be transparent. Okay. And then what are you? Oh, it's this one. Okay. Yeah, that can be the indicator, why not? What is this? Oh, that's that. Grill, let's use something like this. to make it look almost Maserati-esque. I don't think we need a lip on this one. We're gonna give it some small side vents. Something like this. And then where are they? Something like this. Number plate, sport, whatever. And then give this thing some fog lights in here. Very thin. It needs mirrors, by the way. It also should have the pillar. There we go. And I think I want the window trim to be black. Yep. And then what is this here? Like, what does this fall under? Trim? No? Yeah, whatever. Mirrors. What do we want? I think we want these ones. I think are pretty decent. Yeah. Actually, can you put them? No, I can't put them there. So let's put them like this. Yeah, seems fairly reasonable. We want different wheels. I think we want the BBS style ones for this. Slap on some door handles. A fuel cap as well. And an antenna. Like so. Taillights. I guess you could make something 2012 as with these. Actually, no, these sort of taillights had gotten out of style. No, that's not what I wanted. They had gotten out of style by 2012, right? So instead, let's just make some custom ones. Actually, let's put them up here, shall we? So these would be like that. And kind of follow the, we don't know the mirrors, do we here? and kind of follow the shape of this somewhat. Then again, we could also make this the indicators. But I think for the indicators, we would want them to be thinner. Like that, I think. And then have... Actually, let's make this just as thin as the indicators and have two of these as well. Why not? And then the badge here. That there, because every modern sports car has a big diffuser these days, even the not so expensive ones. Two exhaust pipes. And let's have the reverse lights like here. And I think I also want something like this here. You want this to override the other one. Okay, sure. River drive, and we're gonna give this a 6-speed manual gearbox. Sure, a viscous limited slip diff, radial medium compound tires. We want to flare the rear wheel arches a little bit because I want 225s on this one. Right. 17-inch rims. Seems reasonable. Alloy rims. 4-piston vented discs up front. 2-piston vented discs on the rear. Hi Nicholas Nixon, how's it going? Sure. Let's make it a 2+2. With a standard interior and a standard infotainment system. And variable hydraulic power steering, because we do value driver involvement, that the hydraulic power steering is much better at that than Then electric power steering. Standard 2000 safety. Adaptive active. Ooh, this oversteers quite a lot naturally. So we would like, first of all, I'm gonna stiffen the sway bars up a little bit as well. But we want the suspension to be softer. We want more camber on the rear than on the front to kind of tame this a little bit. It also bottoms out too much. No, it doesn't. But man, this little bit of ride height changed a lot for the roll angle. This does still tend to slightly oversteer. Still a little bit, but less so now, I guess. How fast are you? 6.3 seconds, that's fine. Let's check the drivetrain spacing, the gearbox spacing at least. We can make the front brakes a little bit smaller. Actually, no, that hurts our stats. Making the rear one smaller, actually only by a tiny bit, helped. Brake bias was actually spot on. Aerodynamics. Yeah, we do want to stiffen the damping a little bit. 0.50 seems fine. Yeah, okay. And they finally updated the 70s 80s boxy American car. Man, it's been a while. Like it's about time that they did that, isn't it? BeamNG.Drive CE, what is this? Is a 2.2 liter? CE 220. B4 2.2. This has 2.2175, and then we save, and then we export from the list of cars here rather than from the in-game see details stat page. And yeah, then we're gonna be driving these two cars that we just built. The 78 Porsche-esque car and this one. So while I'm loading up Beam, I'm gonna switch to this screen. And let's see, it should only take a second anyway. Alright, we're gonna go to the automation test track, starting line, and spawn. And yeah, let's see what these cars do. Also, we're gonna hear the boxer sounds. Whoa. Under power, it has a lot of grip. But under braking or off power, it has basically no grip. So you know what that means, folks. Stay on the throttle the whole time. Yeah, all I did there was brake in a straight line and let go of the steering and the gas, and it kept rotating. This is actually reasonably quick. I mean, for a... Whoa! Yeah. This car doesn't know what grip is. Unless it's literally going straight on with no other inputs at all. How about you? Much more stable immediately. I didn't actually see in automation how much this car weighs. I didn't check that. It should be fairly light. The engine is way too quiet, so we gotta... Even though we use one straight through muffler and no second muffler on this one. Don't you know that you're not supposed to turn corners in a car more than 20 miles an hour? What do you think? You are a European or Japanese car? Real American cars don't turn. What country was Porsche from again? I forgot. It was America, wasn't it? This car, you really feel that when you get in its rev range at above like 5500 RPM or whatever, it feels alright, not very fast but alright, but below that there's like nobody home. It doesn't know what torque is. Germans only do that if they have wings. Sorry, I was reading chat. I went off track there. So, you mean German cars only handle well when they have wings? I disagree. You're not gonna be going through a corner very fast in like a 1991 Mercedes S-Class, because that car was well, softer than butter. But in a BMW 3 Series, for example, even from the 80s, it handled well, the E30. Speaking of handling well, I like the way that this car drives. We do have ESC on, and as we established earlier, it does make a difference even for the automation cars. But yeah, this handles well. That was probably not necessary, like losing traction in 4th gear there, but I mean, losing traction in 4th gear on a rear-wheel drive car that only has 175 horsepower, that's not realistic. Like, it's hard to break traction with this little power even in 2nd gear usually. Unless you have skinny tires like, oh wait, American cars? And then again, I do have to say that American sports cars have massive tires. Like, the current M4 has I think 275s in the rear. The current Mustang GT350R, or the GT350R, that has 315s front and rear. So yeah, that is quite massive indeed. But yeah, with this car I really get a feel for this track as well, because it's slow enough to be forgiving and kind of useful to learn the track, but it's also just about quick enough to not be boring, in my opinion. Oh, yeah, that was certainly not ideal. Man, I hate understeer. Doesn't the Demon have 335s front and rear? I'm actually not sure what tire size the Demon has. I know for a fact that it comes from the factory also with a set of drag tires which has extremely skinny front tires. So those are 100,000% not 335s. I don't know what the street tires of it are though. And I know that the Hellcat only comes with, I think, 275s front and rear. Yeah, I like the way this car feels here. Okay, I thought you could maybe go flat out through there, but I guess it's just a little bit too fast. like the speed is just a little bit too fast for going through that to bend flat out. Maybe if this thing had a wing, it would be able to do it. Go flat out through here though, and again it's not exactly accelerating at the time of going through there either. This is a pretty clean lap so far. There it died because it shifted automatically into third gear, and yeah, kind of died because it had no revs coming out of the corner. Same there. But apart from that, this is a really good and well-balanced car for around here. This might be my favorite car to drive around here so far. Let's see. Let's get into this. James, you haven't seen this one in action yet, have you? Because this is the other contender for potentially my. Are you using arcade shifting? Yeah. I have the gearbox in automatic mode at the moment. This, by the way, has a screaming V8, as you can hear. It's a 4-liter with 450 horsepower. It's rear-wheel drive. 6-speed manual transmission. And of course, this thing is quite a bit quicker than the previous car we drove. It does not grip up very much. I really like that low mounted third braking line. Yeah, I like that too. Please don't understeer into the wall, thank you. That's what the big wing is good for. Besides looks, obviously, that's the most important part about a big wing like that. It does like to dance around a little bit more. It does have 275s front and rear, which should normally be completely adequate for 450 horsepower. Understeer. Oh. And the ESC does... Does it slide more than the 911? Oh, hell no. I mean... We can go back to the 911 car here for a second. The thing is... This one, right? When you're on the throttle, the grip is actually decent, but as soon as you're braking or off the throttle, it's like I'm completely off the throttle, not doing anything, just trying to steer. The rear comes around immediately. It's just a giant freaking pendulum. Like there I was just braking in a straight line and it almost came loose. So if it's actually stable on the throttle, then we should stay on the throttle the whole time, right? Guys, that sounds like a good idea. Oh, wait, no, not a good idea. Oh. Yeah. Don't export the rear engine car into Beam. It doesn't like that. But yeah, this one is really solid. I also liked driving this one, which is also just 170 horsepower in a what did you say? Control C and then 7. Okay. I do want to reset my car though, because I don't like having it damaged at the very start. Put the wing on it, see if that makes any difference. I don't believe it will, at least not much, simply because that slidiness comes from weight transfer. If you still have the supercar competition cars, that would be fun to see how they compare. I actually have the demo car exported already. It's right here. So this, just to remind you, has a 7.5 liter V12 with 800 horsepower. It has two 85mm front tires and three 85mm rear tires, and as you can see, a wing on the back. But I can tell you, it's twitchy as all hell. You would expect this to have grip with 385s on the back, right? Well, it doesn't. Yeah, it's struggling to go straight with such massive tires. What the hell? Okay, now we damaged something in the suspension. Let's go back in the middle of the track and reset it real quick. It's fast as all hell though. $150 right there, easy. Just go straight through the chicane. There weren't any corners there, right guys? was reading a chat there. Probably something weird in the suspension tuning that's making it hard. Could be. It is rather stiff. Man, but this thing pulls in a straight line, you gotta brake. Like, you can't really accelerate very much in this ever, because it accelerates so quickly that, you know, what feels like 1 second after you hit the gas, you already gotta brake again. That was nearly 120 miles an hour again right there. This thing is just way too fast for this sort of track. I mean, we could revise this in automation real quick and then try it again, but I feel like I want to do that another time. Instead now, I want to show you this as well. And yeah, this has a V16 engine, twin turbocharged, because naturally aspirated V16 isn't enough, of course. It has 800 horsepower too, but this is of course front engine rear-wheel drive, and it has more torque, like about 30 to 40% more torque than the supercar we just drove, because it's twin turbocharged. So it's like 1160 Newton meters compared to, what is the other one, like 800 something. And this is this has 325s on the rear, and as you can see, it cannot go in a straight line. My V16 car, late 60s American luxury car with a longitudinal rear-wheel drive and 400 or longitudinal front-wheel drive car and 400 horsepower. That sounds like fun too. Just a little suspicion though, if you were to export this in Beam, I think it may have a little bit of understeer. Just a notch. I'm actually surprised I haven't crashed this thing yet. Well, this time anyway. But I may have spoken too soon. Open the tabs, and it's pulling to one side, and there we go. Nice 360, but yeah. This, even in 4th gear with ESC on, it spins in 4th gear in with the ESC on. Like that is just crazy. Let's round it up with a little bit more talk about ourselves. Because I'm gonna hop into this car because I liked it quite a lot driving it earlier. So yeah, generally I do believe that I like BeamNG better now that we are able to export our automation cars here. It does make me want to pay a little bit more attention to the suspension tuning and not just slap a sort of default tune that I used to use for most cars onto everything. You do really have to set the suspension a little bit softer for this game than maybe you would be used to for automation. Simply because the grip levels here seem to be quite low, and soft suspension helps with that. I do like the way that they ported over the sounds, though I feel like especially this car should be a little bit louder because it only has one straight through muffler and no second muffler, and I can barely hear it at all. I mean, all American cars should have understeer from that era. Bias applied tires aren't doing you any favors. Yeah, that's true. But at least in some pony cars, you were able to easily fix the understeer by just, using your right foot. Whereas with front-wheel drive, hitting the gas is just gonna make you oversteer more. Lift off a little bit here. Can you please stay on the track? Thank you. There we go. I mean, this car only has 175 horsepower, but it's not terribly slow in my opinion. Like, I think for a car like not for a car like this, but for a game like Beam where the grip levels seem to be quite low, this seems completely adequate. The 175 horsepower. And yeah, I mean, we briefly drove two different cars with 800 horsepower, so that is surely enough overkill for this game. That's not gonna go well anytime soon. Also, rear-engined cars seem to be basically undrivable here. Then again, it is a 70s car with a Porsche shell, and those were kind of killing machines back in the day. By the way, I'm not quite sure. Can you hear this engine of this car? Or is it just as quiet for you as it is for me? because it might be different for you because of the recording settings and whatnot. Plenty loud? Really? Okay. Yeah, there it died again. Well, okay, so I think I'm gonna wrap this up now. Been live for a little bit over 2.5 hours now. Everything is below average for me. I've heard somebody else say that in a recent stream. Well, I don't quite know why that is, because I have my mic basically maxed out. I have tried to tweak it so that the game is about the same loudness as the microphone, just so you know you can hear me, but also you can hear the game decently. But I don't know. It just seems to be something. Maybe I have to adjust the overall output level of OBS. My recording and streaming software. I gotta check into that, because as far as the the input volume goes, I've tweaked it so that both sounds pretty much at the same volume, but I'm not quite sure where the output volume is to be changed on OBS. I'll have to check into that again. But thanks for letting me know. I'll look into it, and I will be streaming again on Sunday, by the way. So that will be that will be at starting at 4 p.m. my time. That is 2 p.m. GMT, so it's earlier than today. And hope we'll have some more fun then. I remember watching your old videos, and some of them were barely hearable. Yeah, that's I don't know why. Because I went through a bunch of different recording softwares, and apparently all of them have the issue of being quiet. There has to be something else that I'm doing wrong. I changed hardware in the meantime as well. I'm no longer using my sound card. I have a new motherboard which has much better audio quality, at least. I don't know if that carries over, but at least for what I'm hearing, the audio quality with the new motherboard is much better than it was with the old one. Maybe you're just a very quiet person. Exactly. And why is the game audio so quiet then? I feel like I am speaking louder now than I was back in the day when in my older videos. Maybe that just came over time, and also because I'm currently working in in customer service as a technical support agent on the phone. I do tend to prefer speaking slightly louder than before, simply so that the customers would be able to hear me properly. And at work I only have a pretty cheap business Sennheiser headset. I do like Sennheiser, but those business headsets, the cheap ones, are kinda garbage, just like any cheap headset really. And we are speaking, and by cheap we are speaking of prices like $20 or something. So yeah. The game matches your personality. Thank you. Throw up a V6 in automation. That'll be loud enough to make ears bleed. We do actually have a V6 car exported from automation to Beam. This one. This has 285 horsepower from a 3-liter turbocharged V6. Yeah, I gotta actually focus on the game for a second. That is louder than the flat 4, than the Boxer 4 we just had. To be fair, the Boxer 4 we just had is the quietest engine so far. And yeah, I guess that's gonna do it for today. As I said, I'm gonna be streaming again on Sunday at 2 p.m. GMT, so you can convert that into your local time zone. And I hope to see you guys there, because we're gonna have some more fun with automation and BeamNG. And that'll be all for today. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you on Sunday. Until then, have a good one. Bye bye.